So hi everybody and welcome back to Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 48 and in this video we continue of course with our little game, and in this video we will set up our widget. But before that, let's see our little overview here again. We finished here the first block with the assets and references. We made the game setup, which is just the project setup, and we tested the assets which we downloaded and packaged them as well to see if the packaging is working. And then we wrote here a little pre-story for the game. So we wrote a game story and a pre-story, so we wrote actually two things. And this pre-story we will now anyhow include in our game so that the player know what happens and what he has to do. And the next thing is where we stopped was the start game block. And let's open up this start game and see what we have here. In start game, when you can see there is almost nothing, because that was our last video where I said, okay, now we have to set up this start game anyhow. And then we talked about this main menu widget, and I said you can set it up in different ways. I choose a very simple one, and now we are implementing this one. And if you are wondering why I all time show this overview at start, the reason is very simple. I do other things as well during the day, and to keep track I just open up the overview, watch it, and I'm on track on game development. That's very fast, very simple, and that's why we make this overview, by the way, so that we get tracked what we are doing. So now I know all, and now I know I have to create this widget. I already created this, by the way. And how I created this was, so in our last video we discussed should we make this in this game here. That is more efficient, because then we have not to load all the assets, because a level switch can cause some load time that can annoy some people. You have to think about it, but this is a very short game which we are creating in 7 days, and I choose the simple way, which is, let me show you what I did. I go to my game folder, which is this one. I created this level. We had this level already, and this is my main menu level. Let's open this up. So the first step what I did is, this game menu level needs a game mode main menu. So let's go to our game folder again. Let's go here to and create here a new folder. I called this game mode, and I created here a game main menu. So this game main menu I want to use here. Also GM stands for game mode, and main menu is for the main menu. So actually it's also this main menu level here. So let's open up this one, and what I did in this game mode main menu is, I want just load a widget. This is our start widget. Very simple, because I said we concentrate here only on the very core minimal, not on creative part. And then I can create this widget, and you probably know how to call our widget. It's all time the same thing. Here in event begin play from my game mode, I say create widget. This node, you probably know it. Let's make it here so that you still can follow it. Let me do this all fast again. You probably know it, but yeah, still, it's easy to follow here. What I did is, first of all, create widget. All right, I create this widget. This is this widget creation node, and this widget, of course, we need now our widget. We have not created a widget at this point, but let's add this widget later. And we will add this then to viewport, add to viewport, and that's the first step. Well, later we continue here, or we can continue as well. Let's go here a little bit more. So we have not specified this widget, but what I did as well is, all time when you create a widget, you have also to say, do you need a mouse cursor, and what the input mode should be, and I said this as well, and let me copy this. No, I show you this. Get player, you right click here, right get player controller, and if you have not defined any game player controller so far, then it will use this default player controller, which has all time the index 0. As long as it is not a multiplayer, it is the right one, because we have only one player and it is all time index 0, so that will work. And then you go here and call input mode, because the input mode is all time input mode. Here we have already discussed the three input modes which you have. You can say only game, then you can't go out, for example, then you can't go here out of this game and select any menus here. Or only UI, then you can't use any in-game. And I choose here for test purposes, let's say game and UI, so I can go out. But perhaps I change this in my final product, but then I have to remember this. And the best way to remember this is write faster comment around it. Change perhaps in final product, and let's make a indicator, a color indicator, which indicates this is not finished. Can be, has to be, we have to think about it. Something like that. And then I need one more, of course, show mouse cursor. And we are here at the main menu, so we need a mouse cursor. Depends on your target hardware or target platform, can be something else, but in my case I make it for a desktop PC for very simplicity. And then I can say show mouse cursor, show mouse, and you can see we can here set this note here, set show mouse cursor, and of course we have here to tick this option here, because that means now it will be shown. And let's do this here as well. And here with double click you can create this reroute node to make it a little bit more look better. And if this is not aligning straight, there is another trick. What you can do is you can select both. Oops, not this one. You can select both and press Q. This is a shortcut. If it's set, it will straighten this line, but I think this works also anyhow. If you right click here and there is an option straight line or something, you can find this here, straighten connection. And then you can straight this connection, but there is a shortcut. You use the shortcut, it's much more convenient. In my case it's Q, so I just select it just in case that you want to make this too. So that is exactly what I did here as well, with one exception. I did here I also already created one widget, but that what you see here is actually a standard procedure. What I mean with that standard procedure is this works all time anyhow, but the question is if you want to make it this way. Is this a good way? This is another question. For our simple use case, it's a good way. For a little bit more complex games, probably not, but for our case, perfect. Let's compile, and we have an error, and that's normal because this create widget node needs a widget, but I have not specified this widget now. We have not created this widget, and there are different ways, of course, to create this widget. So we go here to our content folder, we create a folder, right click here, call new folder, name it widget. I made it. Then I right click, new folder, and name it menu, because there are different kind of widgets, right? There's a menu widget, there's a gameplay widget, or whatever widget. In my case, this is a main menu, so I make a menu widget. And then what I did is, you can see it, I have here two files, but actually I started with this file, not with this. This is the second one. And before I started here, I have to choose. Do I create a widget from scratch? In this case would make sense. Or like I said in my last video, we can use this horror engine widget. And I decided, hey, why not? Let's try to see if I can use this for my start screen. So perhaps I have not to do so much widget creation and something like that. So what I did is I went to this horror engine. You can see I have here different colors. This belongs to horror engine. This belongs to this windmill pack. this is my game, and I went here now to this horror engine, and there was this widget section. When you go here to blueprints, then you go to widget, and then you have here this menu section. You go to menu, and here is this main menu widget what the horror engine is using. Let's double click and see it. This is that what the horror engine is using, and I thought, hey, why not use this one here? But you can see this is not the right one anyhow. There are different kind of things in it, but I was too lazy to watch more, and I said I use this one. But what I did is, of course, when you should do this all time, is not use this original one. You have just make a copy of it. And when you see now my my widgets here, I just made here, copied this one, or let's say you can make this one here. You go here to menu like this, and then not move here, not this one, copy here, and then it will create a copy of this one. And if you do this one, then you can see I renamed my copy and I called it main menu test. So let's open up this one, and this one is all you can see what I add here. That was the one before. Let's compare this together. You can see this is the horror engine, almost the same. Where is the original one? So I open up this one as well. So let's see if I need this one. I don't know. Main menu test. I don't know. GM, that is I need. So this is the one which I copied, and this is the original one. You can see what I changed actually. First of all, before you do anything here, check what you need, if this is right for your setup. So in my case, you can see, okay, the first thing what I wanted to do is make a title, because I want to use it here in my main menu. And of course, again, the creative part with all this, yeah, with all perhaps with pictures, sounds, and all this kind of stuff, I made it not right now. Sound perhaps we add here, perhaps because it's very easy to add a sound, a finished sound, not a self-made sound, that we can add probably also as a core element, because sound is very important. But all these creative parts I skipped, so you can see what I did here. I just added a title. My title of this game is The Vanishing People in 7 Roads. Very simple, straightforward, not wasting too much time. And then my next step was, wait a minute, can I use that? You have to analyze this a little bit. You have to understand it as a starter. And how to understand is that you go here to the right side and try to understand first what they did here. Is this a good approach, a bad approach, or whatever? The only thing what I added here are these 2 things, and I made it at least a little bit stylish instead of one line. But this is, yeah, this is this maximum what I did. And then you can see that is the original one, and that is that what I made so far. So, but here I started to analyze it if I can use that, and you can see this one here, this box here, is actually not a start screen main menu. Why not? It says here resume game. No. And then it says here exit to main menu. So this is not the main menu. That was bad. Perhaps there is anywhere a main menu, which I should find. But I was too lazy to search, and I use this one now. And then here is quit game. All right, quit game I can use. Load game perhaps, and this new game. All right. So what is the next step? We go here to the graph and see what we have here. This is the original one. Let's go here. And here I already changed one thing here on top. I kicked out this event construct because it caused me problems a little bit low. There were some errors and I was too lazy to figure it out. So the easiest way is all time, if there is an error and you can't figure it out, just disconnect it or kick it out and make it on your own. I said, okay, let's just connect it and perhaps later I analyze it. But the other things here, what you see here, are just buttons, which means they are doing opener level, For example, you open here this level windmill. The next button is just exit. This one I don't need, by the way. This is a wrong thing here because, like I said, here exit to main menu. This is probably not the main menu. I thought this was the main menu because it was called the main menu. I was yeah, confused. Anyway, let's go on. Then this button is very easy. Quit game. We probably needed load game button. I don't know what this actually is. And then I kicked also this resume game button. So you can see this was the original one. What I did is here in this case, first of all, I made this design. But then I said, hey, before I kick here accidentally buttons and so on. So because my next step is now kick out all the things what I don't need. And all time when you do something like that, then you can do what I did here. If you are interested, don't forget source control as well sometimes. But what I did here was just simply, I go here to my level. I go to my widgets menu and you can see I just duplicated here my own widget. And this is my version 2. And this is my version, my second version where I kicked out. Now I test this. Oh, let me show you what I did before I talk too much. So you can see I duplicated just this from here. So this one is the same thing, which one? And the next thing what I did is, okay, let's see what I don't need. Okay, this one I will probably make myself, kick out. And then I went here at this point and said, okay, this resume game is not working. I go here to the left side and say resume game. No, we are at start. This is my main menu. There is no resume game. I kick it out. New game? Yes. Load game? Probably. Exit to main menu? No. Kick it out. So where is this exit? This one? All right, kick it out. Quit game? Yeah. What is this bag? Okay, this bag I don't know also. Kick it out. So I ended up more or less with this one here. And then, don't forget, we have kicked now many things out. Now we have to kick out here the functionality as well. So you can see when I compile, I get here many errors. All right. That means I kicked this one out. I kicked this one out probably. And here I have a strange load game button. I don't know what this is. So probably I will not use the load game button there. We have already talked in my last little game also about how to make set up a load game, save game. But the problem is I probably have to analyze this horror save game engine and decide later if I use this. So you can see what I did here. That was my final product more or less. I needed just 2 buttons here. New game, quit game, and this load game, this will be set up later. Again, when we talk about this load save game up, but we have to analyze probably this horror engine save game if you want to use this one, or you say, hey, I don't understand this horror save game, let's make our own one. It's very simple, we already created one and then we set it up in our own way. That's also possible. That we decide later, but we are here now at the widget, so we concentrate on this. And you can see then that was my end result here. Then I made here a little bit styling and yeah, then compiling, now it works. And let's go back. So I kick this out now because I continue now with this one, because this one is actually this test 1 here. Let's kick this test, this one here out, delete this one I don't need, and force delete this one. I don't know why I have to force delete this, but and when you do something like that, don't forget also right click here and fix up redirections in folder, perhaps can help. And we are back. So here in widget, main widget, I open this one up and you can see this is the exactly same like before. The only thing is I tried to, just to adjust it a little bit, and that's my final product. What I did here also is, which I have forgotten to mention, is I clicked on this back blur and set it to 100 because I just wanted that the background is covered, whatever background it is. Normally I don't need even a blur here. Perhaps I should kick this out because in my case you can see it will be anyway a black screen. But you can kick it out, or you can keep this blur or whatever, but right now it's not so important. I will kick it out probably if I don't need it, but let's go on. So you can see my final product, it looks like this. And here is even one more thing. Here I use this click new game button. I just don't need that here. He made here something like created an additional widget, which is this basic loading screen, add to viewport, delay, and then he opened up the level. Okay, I'm not sure if this is let's say a good strategy to open up a level, because the normal case is, let me show you this one. When you click new game and you have a separate level, then it takes anyway several times to load the new level if the map is big. Then this solution will not work. This is just showing up a loading screen, but at the same time it is not really loading this level, right? We need this. There is a way, what was it called, level streaming or something like that, which is showing up anything and at the same time loading asynchronously behind the scene the level. So this solution is, I'm not sure how this works. I never used it really, because I tried to make the simple solutions, but this is not the right way. That's the answer, and that's why I wanted just to show, and probably I will just kick this out because this is not working. This is just showing a loading level. Like I said, then it delays for very short, and then it's tried to open up this level. It's not the right way. Let's kick it out directly, so that I showed you that is not the right way to do this. But it is nice to show a loading level, but we will find a better way when we use it. So I compile this. This is the widget which I want to use. It looks like this. It has right now only this setup. This one is missing. This one we will talk anyway. This load save game, it's all time a general topic, but we will talk about this later when we figure out this horror engine save game. And we go back to what? This one was our first version. This one is our last version which I want to use. I go back now to my game main menu. We was not finished, right? At start I showed you here this game menu, and now this create widget. We have created this widget and it is called test 1. That is a bad name because now it's the final widget which I want to use. Let's rename this. Let's go to our widget. Let's press F2. Let's call it perhaps widget blueprint. Because it's a widget blueprint, I make a prefix WP widget blueprint. BP, oops, sorry, widget BP, widget blueprint, and then underscore main menu. All right. So now this one is named. Let's make here fast. Perhaps this one more time, and now save all, of course. And now here I can write here widget blueprint, and it pops up my thing what I created, and now I can compile, and yeah, this one I can kick out. This one I hope you know already now because we did this all time, and this one still stays here because, like I said, I don't know if this is my final product right now, but we can change it later. So save that, and we are not finished. We are where we are again. We go back to our level. We open up this main menu level, and what you have to do here is you go now here to world settings, and this world settings has the settings for this level, and I want change here this game mode to the game mode which I created, right? We have created this game mode, so we have created GM main menu, so set this to GM main menu. Here you find your GM main menu. There are different, and these settings are default settings. You can keep them. They will not normally not make a problem. So we can skip them because our setup is anyway here in our game mode, right? When I go there again, you can see, double click on it here. Is that what we set up? This is our setup, what we need. And this is just calling our widget, which we just created. And of course we set also this this input mode. And let's see if this is working. We save. We can press start and it looks now like this. And I'm using now this horror engine widget here. You can see this one I have not set up. This hovering comes from there. But what I have to do here, I forgot to mention this, of course. You have here, when you click new game, of course, set up the level name. I did this in the last video, I think. If not, no problem. Right here, the map name which you want open. And we want open, of course, this is not good. I have to switch later levels. I mean, I have to bring this level up to my here, this demo level up here. And I made here already a mistake. This was the original map, and the problem is I already altered it. You should not alter the original one. You should, like I said, make a copy and alter the copy and use the copy and keep the original here normally, but it's too late in my case. It's not wild. I can get this map anyway again after. I can create again a map and migrate it here if I want or whatever. But I skip this part because I think this will work. So what I can do is fast. You go here. We want this level here. Oops. What we do is we go again windmill. I go to maps, this one, and I go to my level. Here's my level. Let's make here, this time make a copy here, not move, copy. So you see I copy now. This takes a little bit. All right, we have it. Let's go to my level. Like you can see now I have this demo level here. And I call this also differently. That's very important because that can cause problems if you have the same level name and so. Let's call this one not windmill. Let's call this map gameplay. In my case, gameplay, because that is the map which I use for gameplay. All right, so now I have this gameplay map. Of course, I have to change here. When I click this button, new game, it will open this game. So I use this one. But if you don't know what this is, you go here to this buttons. It's general. Then you go here to this click events. And then you click on this. Then it switched here to the graph. And then you call here this node open level. And here are different options. You use the simple one is probably this with a name here. So open by level name. And here's the name. That's the same node. And then you write exactly the name. That's very important that this name here is the same name what you have here. Let's which one was this one? Gameplay. Let's press here F2. Let's press Control C for copy the name and don't change it just to get it. And then you can delete this one here and then Control V to paste it, and that should be working. And here quit. If you don't know this node, there are different ways. By the way, we discussed this, but let me show this again. You can use the console command, execute console command. This is a very nice node when you want to use console commands instead of, some converted nodes. And there are different kind of console commands. Here you can use, for example, quit is a console command, and this will quit the game. There are different one, but this quit here, they already converted to a node. Like you can see here, you can just write quit and there is now a game node, right? And this game node function here, and you can even, they have made here a nice option. You cannot quit, but you can set it to the background. Interesting option how this works and so, but in our case, we just quit it. All right. Very simple, straightforward. And now all is set up, which means I go here, I press start, my simple widget, and 2 buttons are only working. This is the new game and a quit game. And if you are interested how this coward is set up and this also how these colors are coming, that is the setup from the horror engine. Let me show it this fast as well, so that you can see I used here this horror engine setup here, this buttons here and this all this mess. The only thing what I set up here is really this 2 text files here. All other was set up here, and all other things I kicked out because I didn't know it. But here, these buttons here on the right side, you can see edit menu buttons, and you can see how they set up by the horror engine itself. When we go here, go to the graph, and you can see the buttons are set up this way, and I just use it. You have to analyze it, what it means, what does this mean. It's just probably set up the mouse effects, so when you hover over it and then it's at the color, and that's it. It's not too difficult, but yeah, I would normally make this directly in the thing. They made it this way, all fine, no worry. So I press here start, and you can see this one. And when I press now new game, we are almost finished. I press new game. You can see it is working. But the reason why it is working on my end is I already set up the final place because there is a problem. The second problem is now we have to set up the target map, and this is our gameplay. This gameplay map, right? So you double click on it, you open this one up. Of course, this gameplay map has also this world settings, and this world settings here, I set it to horror engine. So I'm not using here the menu which I used at the start. What I mean with that is when you press M, this horror engine menu is here, and we have to set this probably separate up, or we have to make it our own again. What I mean with that, when you start here, it starts, but when I press escape, you can see it is the horror engine this menu here. And now I have to think again, do I use this one? Because now it works. Resume game, yes, I want resume game. And I can make new game. This one probably works still not, because I have not set up this properly. So I click here, exit to main menu. Let's see what happens. Okay, here's anything doing, but I'm not sure if this is the real thing. Important is what you have to do. There is one more setting. Let me show you. This is important. First of all, like I said, you go to world settings in the gameplay map. Then you go here to game mode, and here you set horror engine game mode. And here you have to set this horror game engine mode if you want to use, for example, first of all, if you want not create all from scratch and want to use the settings from this horror engine, for example, like I showed you in the last video, there's this project settings from horror engine. You can see now I use here this inputs from horror engine, all this kind of inputs. I can use all this, yes, you can see here all these keys to do something. And if you are wondering, hey, that's also very hard to find for beginners. If you are wondering, hey, where I can see where these inputs are used, then I will show you this in a moment, because this is really annoying for starters. You can go to horror engine, and there is this horror engine blueprint class here. When you open up this one, this horror engine blueprint class is big. They put almost many things here, but don't worry, they just put already here, but they still organize this nice. At least you can see it's not so bad organized. It's still good organized. It looks only big, but these are just you have to, when you see something like that so big, don't worry about this. What you really watch is this one node at start, because this one node at start is telling you most time what all the other stuff here behind are more or less doing. Because this one, like I said, is a function, and a function has a name and a function name must normally descriptive. Descriptive means should tell you already what you want, and all this code, all these nodes should doing that what this function name does. Of course, if it's a bad function name, not very descriptive, that will not help you. But let me show you. Here it says get health, right? Then we know this whole thing what comes here will try to get the health of this, so we don't care about this. Get damage, so anything about this damage calculations, we don't care, and so on, right? Because we watched here this main menu settings last time, you can see, you just read this one note at that. This is all anything to do with main menu. If you are interested, then you check out this code. So don't worry about the setting, but what I want to show you is where are the inputs now. And here is something interesting which I have not shown you in my tutorials, I think. Actually, there are many new things which I have not shown you, but this is interesting. You can see we have one event graph, right? But actually, when you watch here to graphs, they have different kind of graphs, and that's nice for organization purposes. So they put not all the graphs here in one place. They said, okay, let's create different kind of graphs. For example, this is an event graph, okay, but look what they have here. You see that's input graph, and this input graph is exactly what we saw here in project settings. So if you are wondering, when you go here to the input of Horror Engine, and I'm showing you that because I won't use it, so I will not set up all things. And you can say, hey, what is this escape or M key doing? Where is that, for example? Do you saw it already? I'm blind like all time. Here we have here escape and M. So here, when you read it here, we don't see what it's really doing, right? But when we go now here to this input, and you see here down, okay, this is menu, input action, hi, menu, what? And then you say what? Or perhaps, but not really, because when you read now here, this line here is connected with, where is it again? Here, with this red function call, or let's say event call here, not function call. Here, event call. You can see this HE means Horror Engine menu, and when we watch this in project settings, HE menu. So, and you can call it with this escape or this M key, and then it will call here this function. This is a real function, or yeah, it's also it's also event, but in general, like I said, these events here are in general also kind of functions. Let's say they behave like function because they are a little bit more powerful, I would say. Anyway, that's not the point here. The point is here that you understand, yeah, you can find here all the controls in this Horror Engine. So the question is, wait a minute, why you are showing us all this kind of stuff? Like I said, I will use that because when I start my game at this point, I won't use the Horror Engine to avoid again a lot of work, because all these blueprints what they made, this here I placed here this lighter on the bottom, so I can click now with my left mouse button and it is placed in my inventory, and I can use now their keys, which one is this? The number 4 or 3, I don't know. It was 4. So now I can press 4 and I can use it. So I don't have to set this all kind up. So, but there was one more thing what I wanted to show you. This will not probably work instantly because, like I said, here in world settings you have to set up the horror game engine, but you have open up this engine. So you one way is just you can find it, or here use this thing here and click on it, it pops up, and then double click on it. And what you have to do is, at least what I did is, here was something else again with loading and so on. I think I kicked it again. I'm not sure if this is good, or here was perhaps nothing. I'm not sure. Anyway, I you create here this node event begin play, and you have probably change here this input settings, and here you make game only, probably. Depends on what you want. Perhaps you say, hey, not game only. Perhaps you want also that the mouse is visible and so on. But in my case, I set it to game only because when the player starts, it should be go to game only. So you can see at this point, you can only navigate here in game. And then when you press M, then you see this mouse is popping up because this comes again with the horror engine, and all the setup is there. And then you can go here, quit game, if you want, leave it, and it's going. So that's all fine, all nice, but that works. So this is if you set this up so far, it will work. But here's one more problem, or let's say not problem. Whatever, let's say selected. When you are here, when I start my game, like I said, we have to think now if this takes too much time to load. And at the start I said this is probably not a good solution. If you make this one here, it's probably a better solution because you have no load time, but then you have to do a little bit more work because now you have to set up all this kind of stuff in this one map. Additional work, but worth it if you make it a real game. In my case, I want to finish this game in 7 days, so I said no, this is faster. Okay, we wait a little bit with load time. All right, that's fine, but we have, I think we are finished so far with the widget, this main menu widget. Not really, because we have to find a way to go back probably. You can see when I press here M, it says here exit to main menu, so which means probably that we can go back there. And then we have to think again, really? Do we really want to go back there? Because that would cause again load games, and we will probably find other solution. And here is another problem. Not a problem, let's say, I don't want to start here where I start. What I mean with that is, like I said before, we have made up, we have created a pre-story, which means now I have to find a way to include a pre-story. And there is one more thing which I have to include, very important: controls. You can see this horror engine has many keys, mouse, and the player when he starts, he need first, before he plays, all this kind of information: how to navigate, how to open up inventory, and then we need also include this pre-story. So there is a lot of work, but the good thing is we have set this up. We are finished this, and when I go, at least we are finished here. So we have a lot of work when I press here new game, and it is not this place here. That's for sure, but that is a topic for the next video. And when I open up here again my overview, yes, we are still start game. So we are still in this block start game, so that we get track. And here we have finished this main menu widget a little bit, not absolute, but we finished it. And now we need a connection to the game start here. Well, this is start game, main menu widget, and now gameplay start. Let's say we need here a bridge. How do we make this gameplay start, right? So that will be extended, and that we will do in the next video. All right, with that said, if you have any questions, any complaints, any suggestions, like all time, write it in the comments. See you in the next video where we, let's say, try to find the way how we introduce player inputs, so navigation and all this kind of stuff, and the pre-story in a very nice way, so that it makes a nice smooth transition from a main menu to the gameplay. So with that said, I stop here. See you in the next, and like all time, have fun and never give up. Bye.